All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 5 Minutes of Math. This is Mr. Lunsford, and I'm glad you joined me this evening. Tonight's homework is for the evening of May 14th, 2018. This is our SOL review, and we're looking at finding percent change. Let's get started. So tonight we've got 5 problems, and like I just said, they're all about percent change. Now our strategy is going to be for every single question. First, find the difference between the original value and the new value. Now, once you find that difference, make sure you use the absolute value of the number. So let's say you're looking at the original value being, say, 2, and say the new value is 10. 2 minus 10 is negative 8. You wouldn't use negative 8 in your proportion. You would use 8, and just remember that this is a percent increase. All right, so you'll see what I mean in a minute. So our 2 strategies are: find the difference between the original value and the new value. Make sure that whatever difference you find, you use the absolute value of it, form a proportion, and then calculate your percent change. So let's look at a couple of examples. All right, so that's our format. Percent change over 100 equals the difference between old and new over the original. Number 1, our original value is 450. Our new value is 675. So if we subtract those two, if you put that in your calculator, you'll end up with negative 225. Don't do that. Use the absolute value. Use 225. And just keep in mind that this is a percent increase. This is an increase. All right. Now we're ready to form our proportion. So here we're looking at x over 100 equals 225 centimeters over 450 centimeters. Our original value was 450 centimeters. So now, remember, this is a percent increase. We have x, we have 100. X is going to be our percent change. 100 is 100%. 225 is our is our difference, and 450 is our original value. So now, 400, we just cross multiply. 450 times x equals 225 times 100. 450x equals 22,500. Divide both sides by 450, and you get x equals 50. Now, what does that tell me? That tells me that the percent change between 450 and 675 is 50%. That's a 50% increase, okay? And that's what I figured out. So let's go on to the next one. So for number 2, we're looking at the original value being 77 million. Just you can just multiply everything by a million. I'm just using 77. Remember, it's times 1 million. So 77 million, and our new value is 200.2 million. So if I subtract those two, I put them in the calculator, I get negative 123.20, but just remember, use the positive, use 123.2, and this is an increase. Now we could be talking about population, we could be talking about counting some sort of animal, fish, insect, something like that, when you're talking about numbers that big. So let's take a look at how to set up the proportion. Now we have x over 100 equals 123.2, our change over the original value, which is 77 million. We just cross multiply. 77 times x equals 123.2 times 100. 77x equals 12,320. 77x divided by 77 equals 12,320 divided by 77, and we have x equals 160. So that's a 160% increase. All right, that's what I'm learning from this. That the change between 77 million and 200.2 million represents a 160% increase. All right, going on to the next one. This is number 3. Our original value is 500. Our new value is 100. And our absolute value of our difference, 500 minus 100, is 400. All right, and the absolute value of positive 400 is still just positive 400, so we can use the number as it appears in your calculator. This is a percent decrease, and here we're talking about album sales. So we started with 500 albums, and we ended up with 100 albums. So this is a decrease of some sort. Let's set up the proportion. x over 100 equals 400, our change, over the original value 500. So we cross multiply. 500 times x equals 400 times 100. 500x equals 40,000. Divide both sides by 500 and you get x equals 80. So what that tells me is when I start with 500 albums and I end up with 100 albums, that represents an 80% decrease. All right, moving on to the next question. This is number 4. Our original value is 350. Our new value is 420. We subtract those two. In the calculator, you're going to get negative 70. Remember, we only use the positive. Now, this represents an increase. So, 70, and we're talking about an increase. And here we're talking about yards. So, let's check out our proportion. X over 100 equals 70 yards of change over 350 yards, which represents our original number. So we cross multiply. 350 times x equals 70 times 100. 350x equals 7,000. Divide both sides by 350 and you end up with x equals 20. So that represents a 20% increase from 350 yards to 420 yards. All right, so going on to the last one. This is number 5. Our original value is 3.25. The new value is 2.95. Now, you all are already seeing that this is a decrease. All right. And the absolute value of that difference is 0.3. That's 0.3. 3.25 minus 2.95 is 0.30. So, let's set up the proportion. X over 100 equals 0.3 over 3.25. And we're talking about meters here. 3.25 times x equals 0.3 times 100. 3.25x equals 30. Divide both sides by 3.25. X equals 9.23. What that tells me is there's a 9.23% decrease between 3.25 meters and 2.95 meters. This is how you set your proportions up. All right, and that's it. Y'all take care, and remember, math is not just about numbers. It's all about the relationships that surround us every day. Have a good one.